Hi everyone, welcome back to SteamFlow, the channel dedicated to all things Steam. In today's video, I've got 3 big pieces of news dedicated to either the handheld market or Steam itself that I want to share with you. And if you're a Steam Deck owner, I think these will impact you directly, so let's get into it. Now, first up, Nvidia is doubling down on the Steam Deck. Now, back in May, GeForce Now officially landed on the Steam Deck, giving us a way to stream AAA games on the Steam Deck without having to rely on native performance, and this was pretty amazing. We were able to do this the unofficial way, but the official app is a lot more streamlined, and now starting next month in September, things are going to get even better. The GeForce Now app will support up to 90 FPS streaming, RTX 5080 tier performance and 4K HDR output. And the best part is that this applies both to handheld mode and when docked out to a TV or a bigger monitor. So if you're into playing the latest and greatest of AAA games on your Steam Deck, this new update will give you a level of fidelity and smoothness unlike anything ever seen before. Of course, you will need a GeForce Now subscription to take advantage and a pretty good internet, but this is a huge move to keep the Steam Deck feeling future-proof. Nvidia is basically saying, don't worry if new games outpace the Deck's hardware, we'll give you a streaming option that pushes the limits. Nvidia has been upgrading the GeForce Now subscription service for more than 10 years now, and while streaming has previously been more of a nuisance than anything else, I think in the last couple of years it's really proved itself as a viable option for people with limited hardware. As long as you have the cash to dish out and the internet connection to back it up, I think it's a solid option for people who want to enjoy the latest and greatest. Next up, I want to talk about Steam reviews because Valve has made one of the biggest changes in years in regards to that. Until now, review scores were global, meaning that if a game had 75% positive review scores globally, that's what everybody saw. But starting today, review scores are now language specific. And here's why that matters. Now, players in different regions can have vastly different experiences with a game. It could be due to localization, translation, or maybe if it's an online game and the servers are not located locally, you can experience issues with lag. Maybe a big part of the game is played by one specific community, or maybe just some cultural references don't really land with you. With this change, if there are enough reviews in your language, Steam will show you a score that reflects just that group. So English speakers might see a game sitting at mostly positive, while another language might see mixed or even overwhelmingly positive. Now this applies to games with over 2,000 reviews in that specific language. So it won't affect every game, especially indie games with less than 2,000 reviews overall, but it will definitely impact big titles. As an example, I had a look at Wukong, which is pretty favored in Asian countries, and also had a look at Scum, which for some specific communities it has mixed reviews, while in English overall it has positive reviews, so you can see this working already. I think the takeaway here is that review scores on Steam are going to feel a lot more personal and a lot more accurate to your region. I think that's a big win for us players because it means developers are going to have to pay more attention to localization, translation, and overall better supporting games in every region they want to sell at. Now on to some last piece of news, and looking at the bigger picture, handheld sales are better than ever. According to new research, global sales of handheld PCs like the Steam Deck are expected to hit 2.3 million units in 2025. That's a 32% jump from the previous 1.7 million units last year, and the market is forecasted to keep growing, reaching nearly 5 million units by 2029. But while the sales are rising, PC handheld manufacturers are facing one big issue, and that is Windows 11. Unfortunately, Windows 11 is still not handheld friendly. Compared to SteamOS on the Deck, Windows handhelds just feel clunky and you have to rely on plugins and workarounds to get even the basic functionalities that SteamOS offers. And on top of that, most of these devices aren't really delivering a leap in performance. Yeah, a lot of them are better than the Steam Deck in terms of performance, but with a price to match that, so the comparison can't really be direct. Now that said, change is coming. Microsoft is rolling out a refreshed gaming mode in Windows 11 that's supposed to dramatically improve handheld usability, and later this year the Xbox branded handhelds are set to launch, backed by the AMD and Microsoft partnership with the semi-custom APUs that they're developing for that. That means that we might finally see handhelds that drastically outperform the Steam Deck both in terms of OS and raw performance. The report also points out that handheld PCs aren't really replacing desktop or laptops, they're simply a complementary device, and of course 2025 also marks the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, with Nintendo projecting to sell more than 20 million units across the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Nintendo Switch 1. And Nintendo is sticking to the traditional console model with big exclusive, but this report suggests that high quality gaming on the go isn't a unique Nintendo idea anymore, so more and more players might be looking to switch over to the Steam Deck or other handheld. So what does all of this mean for the Steam Deck? I think the Steam Deck is still the big leader and in the center of things. Despite dozens of Windows handhelds hitting the market, none of them have actually delivered any generational leap over the Steam Deck, and SteamOS still gives the Steam Deck an edge in usability. However, competition is about to get serious with Xbox branded handhelds on the way and the new AMD semi-custom chips. I think Valve won't be able to coast forever, and Steam Deck 2 announcement feels more and more likely by the end of the year, and Nintendo's cycle may actually benefit the Steam Deck and other handhelds. As Switch 2 enters the market, the idea of gaming on the go becomes mainstream once again, and this will just boost sales across all of this market. So that's pretty much the roundup of these news. What do you think? Have you used GeForce Now before? Do you think it's worth the subscription? And are you likely to use it more now that it will offer 90 FPS on the OLED? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribe for more Steam and Steam Deck content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.